to, here we go. Because we're just going to let this play out. Now they got a hold of it. They're not going to kill it. Don't worry about them. They only grab his feet. Johnny's the one that, I don't think Johnny's ever killed a chicken. Even in the middle of all this, there's still, I promise you, no chicken's going to get hurt in this. That's not what they do. Johnny, all done. Let him run again. Let him run. Johnny, out. Get your gangster paw off him. Out. Let him get back to running again. Promise he's not hurt. Johnny.
So yesterday I put out a video from Mark Dubose in which I posed a couple of questions to him because there was some older footage of him attending a Dog Daddy seminar, and he had very high praise for Augusto and the results he was getting in that seminar with both the dogs and the people. And he had said that Augusto clearly understands how to communicate with dogs, but somewhere in that 2 years, he's gone to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, adopting this more permissive, feelings-based way of seeing dogs and approaching building a relationship with a dog. And so I found this clip in his most recent video regarding the Dalmatian that he's been working with. I found it very interesting that his two other dogs are mauling this Rooster, and yet he has no issue with it and only intervenes kind of at a certain point when the dogs are like escalating their demeanor towards this Rooster. Now he says the Rooster's not supposed to be in there, and I have no issue with, say, a dog controlling the livestock, but why is it necessary for the dogs to engage in this chasing and mauling when it doesn't seem to be serving a purpose other than fulfilling a dog's desire to exert control over the Rooster? So this leads me to pose a very important question, because I constantly get people in my comments, and Mark's made videos on this too, where he does not agree with this idea that we should dominate our dogs or be dominant with our dogs. And yet it's perfectly okay for the dogs to dominate a Rooster. And, you know, Mark and Robert were criticizing, say, guys like Beckman, where they say, you know, they'll bring in a dog to dominate another dog rather than having a dog communicate to another dog like everything's cool, we should be chilled out. Which, when he made that statement, it said to me that he doesn't really understand how dogs build relationships with each other.
Mainly because of just, in reality, I got to give props to Mr. B.F. Skinner guy. When I get into that fear, I instantly today am like, stop. What's going on? Yep. Why is this happening right now? As opposed to just running somewhere with it, but just stop and say, what's happening? What is, like, say, what is real and what is not real? And then I could be able to think my way and process through it, say more rationally, compared to if they're putting me in fear and I'm like, I got to do something. You're going to do something that you may not want to do. You got to just stop and just wonder, like, for one, is this fear an actual, I'm going to die right now because there's something right there? In most cases, unfortunately, when we get our fear, that's literally what's going on. Our body doesn't know that there isn't something literally that's trying to take your life right there. It's just something going on in you that you can't control it. It just happens. It just randomly happens. And the more that you just get that, and then you just stop and you say, okay, I got to make a different course of action here. You'll make a real good decision after that. That's the part with me that I started to see in the dogs. I was like, if the dog can do that, I could do that. Because I saw that's this Dalmatian. I saw her just do some things. I'm just like, if she could do that, there's no way that I can't be able to do that. It might be a little more work, I guess, for me than her. But at the same time, not really, because I don't really get a choice and she really doesn't get a choice. So it's just a matter of, let's just go into this as opposed to running from it or trying to fight against it. Let's do something. It just changes a lot of little things that go on in my world. When I see people trying to put me in danger or use stuff to get me to react, I'm just like looking at it like, hold on a second. Like, what are you trying to do to me right now? And my instant go-to is like, why are you trying to manipulate me right now? Like, what do you want to take from me right now? And it just, it changes everything that I look at everywhere. It's fascinating. And that's the part that I get calmer and more chill. And then the dogs just get that exact same way. They have no choice but to fall into that even more. It's a really cool experience. That's something that I would want to be able to, because some people just have never been with a dog that's just like pretty chill. And it'd be nice to be able to give someone that chance to be able to just do that so they can be able to relax themselves. And that may help some folks. And we got trainers out here that are using their dogs to punish and correct other dogs. Maybe need to be able to just take a dog for a walk that is just nice. That's just neutral as can be, and just have a good, pleasant experience. And then you could just look at it and say, I can do this. It is fine. It could just give you a new sense of life to be able to just see something that you need to change. Because
it's an amazing thing, and this is where Joel Beckman is completely out in fucking lunch, because he's putting his dogs in bad situations. You shouldn't be doing that.
He's doing the right thing in the backward sense.
Yep, exactly.
In the opposite sense. The dog shouldn't be coming to overpower and dictate to the other dog. The dog should come in and say, hey, we're good. Everything's calm. Everything's chill here. So what he's doing is what I believe not what he's doing, but the concept of using dogs is and should be the new push that we should be using as trainers to actually get dogs to be better. Not coming in and domineering dogs, but bringing a dog to say, hey, buddy, like, we good. Like, life is good. Like, just chill out. We're fine. See? And then it calms that dog down to actually start to rationalize what's going on. Because when I watch this stuff, it's silly in a sense, for one, that you muzzle a dog and you get your dog to just bully the dog. Yeah. But all I can see that happens from that is the concepts that I just know with especially us as humans. When the kid was bullied in school, all they do is get older so that they could do something to bully somebody else. They don't actually get to the point of, oh, I don't want to be a bully. It's just you're creating another one to just want to keep doing that. That's what I only imagine is going to have to happen from that. That the dog has a sense of, I'm never going to allow another one to do that to me, so I need to be the upper hand this next time.
Because again, dogs see things in terms of a hierarchy, a dominance hierarchy. So for all these people that seem to be so invested in the dog's emotional state and putting human ideas onto a dog, why is it okay? What about that rooster's emotions? That rooster clearly was trying to get away. That rooster did not want to be part of this interaction and was running away from the dogs, and when the dogs were mauling it, it was trying to get away.
They just do this play dead stuff. They play possum if you put too much pressure on them. Johnny. There he goes. Johnny, all done. Let him have a chance to keep running again. But even in all this dog is still just like, oh, hey, how's it going? What's happening right now? All right, guys. Oreo, go home. Johnny, go home. Go home. Oh, see, that chicken's even in the wrong spot. So y'all got to come out and do a little bit of work. Come here. Go home. Go home. Johnny? Come on, guys. But even in the middle of all that, this dog still just has Oreo home. Sorry, I got to get firm with him because that's the part where I will say, I don't need a leash, I don't need anything, but I definitely got to get more vocal with my verbiage. Sorry, girl, come here. With my verbiage, because he's intense, and I really, really like that about him. But it's not a quick little, oh, please stop doing that. No, I said stop doing that, and he'll just stop. Sometimes that's just what I have to do to get the dog to get out of it. But at the same time, I would just love to see a single video of that progress that was just going on back there. Your dog is chased the chicken, got the chicken, hold the chicken, chicken's in his mouth, got the feet on the chicken, and then you still are able to just get the dog.
We care so much about the dog's emotions, but not the roosters, or any other animal for that matter. To me, it's hypocritical, and it points out a serious flaw in this way of seeing things, where, listen, if you're against a dog dominating another dog, but you're okay with it dominating a rooster, then I see some gaps in that logic. Especially when you're going to criticize guys like Beckman, who use prints to give discipline to a dog who may need it. But I want to point out that during this whole thing, Mark's repeatedly telling the dog to stop, and the dog stopped for maybe a second or two, but then go right back to doing it. And so it's like the dogs do care about what he's saying, but then not enough to not go back a second time or a third time. He has to constantly keep telling them, and then finally he has to get a little bit more assertive for them to finally stop. And so I just find this whole thing interesting because he doesn't agree with this idea that we should dominate our dogs. But that's exactly what he's doing. He's exerting control over them and telling them to stop. He's making a rule, setting a boundary, but he doesn't agree with having another dog do that to another dog who may need it. And for some reason, he he doesn't agree that we should do it to our dogs, but that's exactly what he did here. Just something I wanted to point out. Again, it's not a personal attack against Mark. I just want people to see these things because people like to constantly assert that we found this better way of doing things, and yet I see shit like this, and it really calls things into question because I constantly hear these words fulfillment and enrichment and let the dog be a dog, and it makes no sense to me because what exactly are we fulfilling? We're bringing out this predatory side of them, and then we wonder why we can't take them in public because they might chase a squirrel or a dog, or they might engage in these predatory habits that they've developed, and then we want to blame the dog, all the while we're sitting back and just letting it happen, letting the dog fulfill itself and, quote, be a dog.